If you can absorb pain, you're the most powerful dark chosen one on earth. There are certain beings walking among us who are not just survivors of pain, but alchemists of it. They do not merely endure suffering, they absorb it, digest it, transmute it into something unbreakable. They are the dark chosen ones, rare souls who have been entrusted with one of the most difficult, misunderstood, and sacred tasks on earth, to carry pain, not as a burden that crushes them, but as a raw material for invincible strength. If you are one of these souls, you know it not by the titles you have earned or the accolades you have been given, but by the wars you have survived silently. You know it by the way life has placed you in the eye of every storm, the heart of every battlefield, not to destroy you, but to forge you into a living embodiment of resilience. From the very beginning, you knew you were different. While others crumbled under the weight of heartbreak, betrayal, loss, you seemed to bear it with a mysterious endurance. It's not that you didn't feel the pain, you felt it more than anyone. You felt it in your bones, in your blood, in your dreams. But somehow, you didn't break. You absorbed it. You took it into your system like it was a poison you were destined to neutralize. And with every heartbreak, every failure, every betrayal, you grew stronger, deeper, more capable of holding the unbearable. Have you ever wondered why you were the one who always had to be the strong one? Why you were the safe place for others' tears, others' fears, others' chaos?
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
The truth is, you are not cursed. You are chosen. Chosen not by human hands, but by the deeper intelligence of the universe that knows the value of a soul that can walk through fire and carry embers back to light, the way for others. It is not glamour that makes you powerful. It is not ease. It is your scars. It is your capacity to hold pain without being consumed by it. It is your ability to walk through the dark, refusing to become the dark. You are the living proof that it is possible to touch the abyss and still choose love. Still choose life, still choose to create rather than to destroy. But what does it mean to truly absorb pain? It means that when the world throws its sharpest blades at you, you catch them with open hands and forge them into tools of healing. It means you have learned, often without knowing, to metabolize suffering, not only your own, but often the suffering of others. You walk into a room heavy with unspoken wounds and, without a word, you start lifting the weight. People feel lighter around you, not because you have taken away their problems, but because you have absorbed the unspoken burdens they didn't even know they were carrying. Have you ever left a conversation feeling inexplicably drained, even though the other person seemed to feel better? That was not weakness. That was your power at work, operating beneath the surface. Yet this power comes with a sacred responsibility. Without awareness, the gift of absorbing pain can become a curse. You can drown in others' sorrow if you do not learn to ground yourself. You can become a ghost in your own life if you spend all your energy carrying what was never yours to keep. The first step to mastering your destiny as a dark chosen one is learning to distinguish between what is yours and what is not. Pain is meant to be transmuted, not hoarded. You are a vessel, not a vault. Your task is not to carry suffering forever, but to pass it through your being, to turn it into wisdom, into compassion, into unshakable presence. This path demands practices that most will never understand. You must build inner sanctuaries where you can cleanse, recharge, and reconnect to your own essence. You must become ruthless about your boundaries, not because you lack love, but because your love is too sacred to be squandered on those who refuse to meet you halfway. You must learn to listen deeply to your body, to your spirit, to the subtle signals that tell you when you are carrying too much. You must trust that protecting your energy is not selfish, it is strategic. It is how you stay alive long enough to fulfill the mission you were born for. And make no mistake, it is a mission. You did not come here just to endure. You came here to transform, to take the brokenness of this world into your hands, and through the quiet alchemy of your soul, turn it into something holy. Every heartbreak you have absorbed, every injustice you have witnessed, every shadow you have walked through, has been shaping you into something the world desperately needs now more than ever, an unbreakable being of light forged in the fires of darkness. So I ask you now, at this pivotal moment, can you see the beauty in your own scars? Can you honor the battles you have survived, not as signs of failure, but as badges of your true rank in the invisible armies of light? Can you stop apologizing for being too sensitive, too intense, too much, and recognize that these very qualities are the marks of a soul powerful enough to do what most would never dare? Because if you dare to fully claim the truth of who and what you are, then you will unlock levels of strength, wisdom, and influence that are unimaginable to those who have never carried real pain. You will no longer merely survive your own life. You will command it. You will become a living lighthouse in a world adrift in storms. You will become a channel for dark alchemy, for the transformation of suffering into power, fear into wisdom, death into rebirth. And the next step is even deeper. It is not enough to absorb pain unconsciously. To truly fulfill your destiny, you must learn how to wield it as a weapon of creation. You must learn to use the very forces that try to destroy you as the raw fuel for your greatest achievements. Mastering dark alchemy, how to turn pain into unstoppable power. If you are willing to see pain not as the enemy, but as the raw material of your evolution, you are ready to step into the true mastery of dark alchemy. This is where everything changes. This is where you stop being a passive recipient of life's brutality and become an active architect of your own destiny. The pain you have absorbed was never meant to sit stagnant inside of you. It was meant to be transformed. Pain is energy, and energy, by its very nature, can be redirected, reshaped, reborn. What if I told you that the very wounds you thought would destroy you were actually the keys to unlocking a level of power you have barely begun to taste? The first principle of dark alchemy is simple but profound. Pain must move. It cannot be trapped, ignored, or buried. When we repress pain, it festers. It becomes poison. But when we allow it to move through us, through breath, through expression, through creation, it becomes fuel. Think of it like fire. Fire trapped in a closed container will eventually cause an explosion. But fire given space, given purpose, can forge steel, can warm homes, can light the way through the darkest night. Your inner pain is not a ticking time bomb unless you abandon it. It is untapped potential waiting for you to give it form. One of the most powerful ways to transmute pain is through creation. Every great piece of art, every transformative innovation, every revolution was birthed from someone's willingness to sit with agony and turn it into something sacred. When you create, whether with words, with music, with movement, with action, you offer pain a new shape. You tell the story instead of letting the story tell you. You become the author of your experience rather than its victim. Have you ever noticed how much lighter you feel after expressing something you carried for years? That is not coincidence. That is alchemy. That is you reclaiming energy that would have otherwise weighed you down. But creation alone is not enough. To master dark alchemy, you must also understand the power of meaning. Pain without meaning is suffering. Pain woven into purpose becomes power. When you choose to see your hardships not as random punishments but as sacred initiations, everything shifts. You stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" And you start asking, "What strength is this forging in me?" Every betrayal becomes a lesson in trust, not in others, but in yourself. Every loss becomes a deeper opening for unconditional love. Every failure becomes an initiation into resilience. The story you tell yourself about your pain determines whether it imprisons you or empowers you. And there is another secret, one that many fear to acknowledge. Your pain connects you to forces larger than yourself. When you have suffered deeply, you tap into the universal agony of existence. You are no longer isolated. You are part of the collective heartbeat of humanity, of the earth, of the cosmos itself. You carry the echoes of ancient griefs, ancient battles, ancient hopes. And when you heal yourself, when you rise from your own ashes, you are not just healing your own soul, you are healing something much, much bigger. You are fulfilling an ancient contract written long before you were born. The contract of the dark chosen ones, the ones who agreed to carry the unbearable, so that others might one day remember their own light. But to wield this power responsibly, you must ground yourself in practices that strengthen your vessel. Just as a blacksmith needs a sturdy forge to shape molten metal, you need a disciplined inner life to handle the intense energies you work with. Meditation, physical training, sacred solitude, rituals of cleansing and renewal, these are not optional luxuries for you. They are the foundation upon which everything else rests. You must become as strong in your self-care as you are in your service to the world. Otherwise, the very energies that empower you can also consume you. And here is perhaps the most paradoxical truth of all. The more fully you embrace your pain, the more fully you embrace your joy. True mastery over darkness does not mean living without light. It means knowing that the deepest wells of sorrow can also become the deepest wells of ecstasy, gratitude, and love. It means allowing yourself to feel everything, not just the good, not just the easy, but the full, wild, terrifying, magnificent spectrum of existence. Because only when you have faced the worst the world can throw at you and chosen to stay open, can you experience the best it has to offer without fear. So I ask you now, not as a challenge, but as a sacred invitation, are you willing to stop running from your pain? Are you willing to sit with it, breathe with it, listen to its hidden wisdom? Are you willing to take the raw, molten chaos inside of you and shape it into something beautiful, something fierce, something that will outlast your own lifetime? Because if you are, then you are not just surviving this world, you are remaking it from the inside out. You are turning darkness into treasure. You are becoming a force that no system, no trauma, no enemy can ever silence. You are mastering the art of dark alchemy. And the next evolution is even greater, learning to use this power not just for yourself, but to change the very reality around you. Shifting worlds, how dark chosen ons rewrite destiny. Once you have mastered the art of transforming your own pain, the universe will inevitably ask more of you. It will call you to something even more staggering, something even more sacred, to become an architect of new realities. Dark chosen ones are not here just to survive their own storms. They are here to shift the weather patterns of existence itself. You were never meant to simply endure. You were meant to rewrite destiny, not just your own, but the collective destiny of a world that has forgotten its own power. The first realization you must accept is this: reality is malleable. It is not fixed, not rigid, not decided by forces beyond your control. It is shaped by consciousness, by belief, by energy. And those who have walked through the fires of deep suffering and emerged stronger carry a kind of authority that cannot be taught or faked. Your energy carries a weight. Your frequency bends reality around it, whether you realize it or not. When you speak, when you move, when you decide, you are sending out ripples that alter the very fabric of the world. But this ability to shift reality is not automatic. It must be wielded with precision, with intention, with integrity. If you act from your wounds, you will recreate cycles of destruction. If you act from your healing, you will create cycles of liberation. Every thought, every word, every action either feeds the old world or births the new one. Can you see how powerful you are, even in your smallest decisions? Can you see how every moment is a brushstroke on the canvas of existence? To rewrite destiny, you must first clear the residue of false narratives from your own mind. You must dismantle every belief that tells you you are powerless, that tells you you are cursed, that tells you you are at the mercy of forces beyond your reach. You must uproot these lies like weeds from the sacred garden of your soul, and you must replace them with truth, the truth that you are a co-creator of reality, the truth that you carry within you the seeds of worlds yet unborn. Visualization becomes a sacred tool here, not the shallow visualization of wishing and hoping, but the deep, embodied visualization that comes from knowing who you are. When you close your eyes and see the life you want to build, the world you want to inhabit, you are not fantasizing, you are blueprinting. You are downloading instructions from a future that already exists in potential, waiting for you to call it into form. Your job is to hold that vision with unshakable faith, even when the outer world looks nothing like it yet. Your job is to become so aligned with that vision internally that reality has no choice but to rearrange itself around you. But more than visualization, action is required. Destiny is not rewritten by dreams alone. It is rewritten by bold, sometimes terrifying steps into the unknown. It is rewritten every time you speak your truth when it would be safer to stay silent. It is rewritten every time you choose love when hate would be easier. It is rewritten every time you refuse to betray your soul for the comfort of the familiar. Every act of courage, no matter how small, is a hammer blow against the old structures that have kept humanity asleep. And you will not always see immediate results. You must learn to trust the unseen, to plant seeds knowing you may not live to see them bloom, but trusting that they will bloom nonetheless. You must become a master of patience as well as power, a weaver of timelines who knows that some destinies take time to ripen. And through it all, you must remain rooted in your deepest why, not for fame, not for validation, but because you came here to midwife a new world into being. So I ask you now, from soul to soul, are you willing to carry the responsibility that comes with your power? Are you willing to become a world shifter, even if it means standing alone at times? Are you willing to write a new story, not just for yourself, but for all those who will walk the paths you blaze? Because if you are, then you are already doing it. With every breath, with every choice, with every refusal to give up, you are bending reality toward freedom, toward healing, toward a future where power is not domination, but creation. And the final step is the most sacred of all, the realization that the ultimate power of a dark chosen one is not just to absorb pain, not just to transform it, not just to rewrite destiny, but to become a living embodiment of the divine itself, becoming the living force, the final ascension of the dark chosen one. The final step on this path is the most sacred, the most terrifying, and the most beautiful. It is the point where you stop seeing yourself as a separate being trying to survive in a hostile world, and you start recognizing what you truly are, a living embodiment of the primal, creative force of existence itself. You no longer just navigate reality, you are reality. You become the storm and the silence, the destruction and the rebirth. You become the living force. To ascend to this level is not about gaining something new. It is about shedding everything that was never truly you. It is about peeling away the final illusions, the illusion of separation, the illusion of limitation, the illusion of powerlessness. It is about standing naked before infinity and saying, I remember now. And in that remembrance, you unlock a current of energy so vast, so pure, so unstoppable that it humbles even the strongest ego. But this ascension demands total surrender. You must be willing to lay down even the identities that gave you strength. You must be willing to let go of the need to be seen as a survivor, a fighter, even a healer. You must be willing to become nothing, and in becoming nothing, you become everything. Have you ever considered that the pain you absorbed, the battles you fought, the worlds you shifted were never just about you? They were the training ground for this moment. They were preparing your vessel to handle the pure, raw power of divine consciousness flowing through a human form. When you reach this state, your very existence becomes a transmission. You no longer need to try to teach, to heal, to inspire. Your presence does what words and actions could never accomplish. You walk into a space, and the energy shifts. You speak, and the truth behind your words rearranges the very structure of those who hear it. You touch, and ancient wounds begin to dissolve. You are the medicine. You are the miracle. You are the force that reminds the world of its own forgotten divinity. But this level of embodiment also comes with profound humility. You realize that none of it is about you personally. You are not the source of the power, you are the conduit. You are not the hero, you are the instrument. And this realization frees you from all the chains of ego, of fear, of needing to prove anything to anyone. You are free to simply be. And in your being, you fulfill the highest destiny of the dark chosen ones. You understand now why you were given so much pain. You were not being punished. You were being entrusted. Entrusted with the sacred fire that only a few on this earth could carry without being consumed. Entrusted to walk into the darkest places and bring back the light. Entrusted to be a living, breathing reminder that no matter how deep the night, the dawn is inevitable. And so, the question I leave you with is the deepest of all. Are you willing to dissolve fully into the force you have always been a part of? Are you willing to stop seeking and start embodying? Are you willing to let go of the last remnants of fear and step fully, irrevocably, into your infinite nature? Because if you are, then there is no longer anything you cannot do. You are no longer bound by the old rules. You will create realities just by choosing them. You will heal generations just by existing. You will awaken souls just by breathing. You will be a walking revolution, a living legend, a cosmic force clothed in human skin. This is not a fantasy. This is not a dream. This is the ultimate reality waiting for you to claim it. And the world is starving for beings like you, beings who have walked through hell and returned not bitter, not broken, but blazing with a love so fierce, so pure that it cannot be denied. You are the living force. You are the culmination of every struggle, every tear, every triumph. You are the answer to prayers whispered for centuries. You are here now, at the turning point of history, not by accident but by design. And so I say to you, step forward, shine without fear, love without limits, create without apology. Become what you were always destined to be. The world is waiting. The cosmos is watching. The future is trembling with anticipation. And you are ready.